Gentlemen, welcome. Today we tackle a topic so big that we'll have to do the impossible. We'll have to travel back in time, farther back than anyone has ever traveled before. A time so mystical and rare they called it 2017. This was a glorious year for gamers, with releases and announcements such as Super Mario Odyssey, Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think we all remember that greedy mess, and even the Xbox One X, the world's most powerful gaming console. Yes, it was a beautiful time to be alive and to be gaming video games as hard as we could game. But there was more than just those large-scale announcements. There was one for a niche fan group that, when announced, had set the world on fire. Yes, I think you big brainers know what I'm about to say. 2017 had a small little clip that came out from a game I'm not quite sure if you've heard of. Oh, Metroid Prime 4. This announcement was huge. Big. The biggest announcements of all. Oh, you're wondering why? Well, considering that the franchise had been put on ice, killed, slaughtered, since a little project from 2010 had kind of put the game under, I'd say that this was a really big reason to celebrate. The returning franchise that had set off a genre of its own, Metroidvania, back from the dead. Yes, there was default dancing galore. It seemed as though the world was finally perfect. There was peace. Wars were ending. Racism, that was a thing of the past. Gas prices were going down. A jug of milk was 10 cents less than usual. Add that up, and by the time Metroid's released, you've got a free game. The cure for cancer was just around the bend, and the cosmos was at peace. All the nations had been living in harmony. Until the Fire Nation decided to release a small video titled something like Metroid Prime Development Update. This was big. This was huge. This could be anything. Gameplay perhaps? Storyboarding? Concept art? The Reddit was blowing up. Something was wrong. We could see it. No, it can't be. It's the cancellation of the Metroid Prime 4 project. No, just kidding. They just had to go ahead and restart from the absolute beginning, therefore taking us back to another 3 to 5 years of development. It was a tough pill to swallow, but we could handle it. We've been waiting since 2010. We could wait a little bit longer. This news was devastating, ending families and livelihoods across the world. There was no hope, no redemption, no news and no chance of a game in the near future. Though we had waited so long, we could wait longer. But it wouldn't be an easy task on the hearts and minds of Metroid fans. Fast forward 2 years, and we're still waiting for the game. Virtually nothing has been heard or discovered, aside from new hirings onto the job. But these hirings and the amount of time passing could be clues. Clues that can lead us into understanding the current release timeline of the game. We should consider the release of the newest God of War as a comparison. This was a returning franchise on a new engine on a brand new console, similar to Metroid Prime 4. And with all construction and working on the game, it took around 5 years. Obviously, this is because a team has to learn a brand new engine for the new console with different code. And though they may be skilled in their works, learning a brand new video game and how to code it and design it is definitely a difficult task, at least at first. That's why you might see sequels coming out sooner than the release of the initial game, as assets have been created at that point. And as I've stated, this just gives us a rough idea on when we could expect to see Metroid Prime. But there's obviously the hurdle of a new game that will add time to the clock. Essentially, I wouldn't hope to see a Metroid release this year, but I would be hopeful for some Metroid news around the time of E3. That is, of course, if the big C-word virus hasn't ruined the chances of that happening. Considering that we are 2 full years, at minimum, of Metroid Prime 4 development, this means that we have a worst-case scenario of 3 more years to wait before we see release of the game, and a best-case scenario of 1 more year. And while the new hiring of many new developers could mean many things, either that the workflow is being expedited, being hurried along, and the team will be done much faster with all the new talent, it could also mean that we are only just getting started on the development of Metroid Prime 4. Regardless, I believe that we are going to see Metroid at this year's E3 undoubtedly, but a chance we'll see it release? Not likely, as the timeline wouldn't add up. My advice? Stay occupied with other matters, as checking every day for Metroid news will literally drive you insane. Trust me, I've done it myself. But here's to hoping that a Metroid Prime HD trilogy will be released into the Switch, or that maybe we might even get the legendary Metroid Fusion 2. So keep your chins up, your ears out, and pay attention to the news, but don't cause it your only occupation. Metroid news will show this year. But the video game itself? Buckle up, boys. We've got a bit of a longer wait ahead of us.